That
Sure.
sounds so simple and so much like common sense. Um, but you'd be surprised at the people who don't do it. I'll tell you a quick funny story before I ask for what you really mean here. I had done something for a while that I thought was quality, and an app called Audvisor reached out to me and said, "We want to give you a page." I'm on there with Seth Godin and Guy Kawasaki and Joel Comm and a lot of other big names. Now one of the world's top experts in the personal growth visionary field. Um, and I sent them the recording, and they basically told me it took them hours to try and clean it up, that they could never clean it up. And I'm like, well, I thought it was quality the whole entire time until I
Yeah.
actually listened to it. And then the funny part is I actually started checking some settings and realized, oh, what I thought was quality wasn't quality. So, I mean, that's kind of one of my experiences. But um, so I guess one of the things I want the audience to understand before we even go into quality, and that's why I brought it up, was the fact of you might think you're producing a quality product, but until you have a professional look at it, you might not know if you're not producing a quality product. Right,
Yes.
Matt?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I recommend to people if they're editing themselves, after you finish editing or putting it together, your show, step away from the computer for a while, just clear your head, do whatever, come back, sit down, and don't have your well, close your eyes, put in your earbuds, and pretend you're a listener and listen to that episode as if, and don't look at the little editing software going across the screen. Just close your eyes and say, okay, if I was listening to this podcast, is it blowing my eardrums out? Is the host and guest consistent? Is the music mixed right? Are the everything needs to be done. So I guess that goes whether you're doing it yourself or outsourcing it. Try to not just look at price, because I've run into a couple cases already where someone said, well, I'm not going to pay you this, but I found someone off a popular, and I don't want to run down freelancers because they're great and I've used them for certain tasks. But if someone online says that they can do a full edit of your episode for $5 and they can do a 30 minutes in 45 minutes, odds are that's probably, that's, I would say, not possible to do the best job possible in 45 minutes. So I think, and also looking to see if there's hidden charges, because I've had clients run into, okay, well, I got a basic edit for $10, but then I went to mix it, there's an extra $5, and to do show notes was an extra $5, to upload it was an extra $5, and so just kind of see what's involved. And again, I've used some freelancing sites. It's a great development that's come along online, but just make sure that if you want to put out a quality product just to save $1 or $2, it's really not worth it in the long run.
Yeah, well, and so the first reason to put out, or the first thing is that people might not know that their product isn't of high quality. But why is it so important to produce the highest quality product possible? I mean, it's just a podcast. It's just, I'll say it's just a podcast, right? I mean, why is it so important to produce as high a quality product as possible?
Well, it's for the listener, really. Like, you want those listeners to subscribe to your feed and to listen to get what you're saying, to listen from the start to the finish. So the problem is if you're not normalizing the volume, or if you're not matching volumes, or making sure, that it's a pleasant listening experience, someone's not going to listen to it again. They're going to pull their earbuds out and say, this is a mess, and they're probably not going to recommend your podcast to somebody else. So I think it's just important to, like I say, look at it as if you're a listener, close your eyes, listen to it, without coming at it from a bias, and say, if I was a listener, would I enjoy this, and would I subscribe to it, and would I recommend it to my friends? So, and have your friends and family listen to it too, and have them be brutally honest. Say, hey, anything you noticed with that, could be volume, could be background. Now, not all background noise can be taken out. It's kind of sometimes the editor has to or the person editing has to do the best they can with what they have, but just do the best, because you're putting all that work into your podcast. You want it to sound as good as possible.
And I think you really hit on the golden nugget there. A lot of times we think, especially we in the personal growth industry, think that if we just give people great information, great content, that they're always gonna recommend us. But there's a psychology behind why you recommend somebody. It's not only the quality of the content, but the experience that somebody enjoys. And if they enjoy a better experience while listening, they're more apt to refer you to their friends and family, right, Matt?
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. You only get one chance to make a first impression. So if that person, if they're not a raving fan, they're not a member of your tribe, they're tuning into you for the first time, you want to knock it out of the park with them, and then they're gonna not only check out your podcast, or most likely you're gonna check out your page and your course offerings and the other things that you could do for them. So it's a circle. It comes full circle, and they're all connected.
Yeah, that is epic. And um, I was just thinking of something, but without derailing us anymore, before we wrap up the expert focus, I'm gonna give people your website in a second. I'm gonna tell them they need to get in touch with you, and they need to really do business with you, because they do, to make their shows more epic. Before I get to all that, is there anything last you want to leave with our viewers today about podcasting, about personal service,
Sure.
about all this stuff that we've talked about?
Yeah, a few things, Chris, and I should have mentioned it on the consistent thing when I touched on you don't want the podcast to be a chore and start to hate your passion. There's been some people I know that said, I want to jump in with a daily show and I'm going to knock the socks off everyone. I'd recommend start with the weekly show first, get your feet under you, see what's involved, and then, if you say, hey, okay, I'm really liking this, getting good results, I'm getting lots of guests, then ramp it up to a daily show if you have the means to do that. So start that way instead of saying going gangbusters out the gate. Now I'm saying this. My brother started with a 7-day show, but he's a different breed. He went from 7, then he thought it was a major downscale to go to 5 days a week. The guy's a machine, but for
Yeah.
podcasting, I think you really have to just go. Well, I guess it goes back to the first point: understand what's involved, and yeah, definitely. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Kind of dip your toe in, get your feet under you, and you'll get better. I've said this before. Your second interview will be better than your first. Your third interview will be better than your second, and then before you know it, you're going to have 100 shows under your belt, and people are going to be coming to you to ask for help. So.
Epic. Well, Matt, you've been an epic guest today. I'm going to throw up your website, podassist.com, folks. If you've got a podcast, or if you're thinking about a podcast, you've got to reach out to Matt. And I say if you're thinking about it, because you're going to want to get this guy in on the ground floor on what you're doing, because he's going to help save you the time. I mean, if you're going to have to spend a couple of bucks on something in your podcast, you got to spend it on Matt and his services at Podassist, because it's going to make you better. It's going to, in my opinion, it's going to accelerate your growth, and it's going to get you to where you want faster. It's going to reduce your stress and reduce your frustration. And one of the things I love about Matt is the hands-on service the hands-on personal service that he gives all his clients. I mean, it's what this guy loves to do. He loves to be in the personal growth and development industry, and he does an epic job. I've heard a lot of his work. It's amazing. It's amazing to hear the before and after when Matt gets his hands on a podcast episode. Once again, it's podassist.com. If like I said, if you got a podcast, reach out to Matt. Go there today. Set up an appointment. Set up a consultation. Just get in touch with the guy. Just do it. Whatever he tells you to do, just do it. Matt, can you help me? Yes, I can. Good. You got to help me. So you got to go out there today. Visit podassist.com. Make it a point to do it today. Make it a point to come back and enjoy the next episode of Expert Showcase. And until we meet again, make it an epic day.
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.